Good day mga boss! Welcome po sa ating channel, Math Tutorials TV. In this video, we're going to discuss the sum and difference formulas of trigonometry. So are you ready? Let us start. So first, we're going to give you the formulas of the cosine and the sine of the sum and difference of two angles. So first in line, we have here the cosine of the sum and difference of two angles. The cosine of the sum of two angles is equal to the product of their cosines minus the product of their sines. In symbol, that is cosine alpha plus beta is equal to cosine alpha, cosine beta minus sine alpha times sine beta, where alpha and beta are angles in standard position. So the cosine of the difference of two angles is equal to the product of their cosines plus the product of their sines. In symbol, that is cosine alpha minus beta is equal to cosine alpha times cosine beta plus sine alpha times sine beta. Next in line, we have the sine of the sum and difference of two angles. So the sine of the sum of two angles is equal to the product of the sine of the first and the cosine of the second plus the product of the cosine of the first and the sine of the second. In symbol, that is sine alpha plus beta is equal to sine alpha times cosine beta plus cosine alpha times sine beta. Last, we have the sine of the difference of two angles is equal to the product of the sine of the first and the cosine of the second minus the product of the cosine of the first and the sine of the second. So in symbol, that is sine alpha minus beta is equal to sine alpha times cosine beta minus cosine alpha times sine beta. So we have here two problems to be solved. By the way, before that, we have to remember in solving problems involving the sum and difference formula of trigonometry, we're going to remember the concept of the coordinates of the point of intersection of an angle, of the terminal side of the angle and the unit circle with reference angle of 30 degrees, 45 degrees, and 60 degree angle. So pag yung angle na may reference angle na 30 degree, ito po yung coordinates ng kanilang ng point of intersection ng terminal side at ng unit circle. So it is positive negative square root of 3 over 2, positive negative 1 half. So yung sign ng coordinates is depende lang po yan kung saang quadrant nakalayo terminal side ng given angle. Okay? So if the given angle has a reference angle of 45 degrees, ito naman po yung coordinates ng point of intersection ng terminal side at ng unit circle. At sa angle with 60 degree reference angle, ito din po yung possible na coordinates ng kanyang ng point of intersection ng terminal side at ng unit circle. We should also remember that cosine theta is equal to x, or cosine theta corresponds to the x coordinate, and sine theta is equal to y. We have here two problems. We are going to find the exact value of the following trigonometric functions in terms of radicals. We are going to express the following trigonometric functions as trigonometric function of a single angle. So first, we have here, we're going to find the exact value of cosine 165 degrees. So yung gagawin natin mga boss is we are going to express 165 degrees into either a sum or a difference of two angles. Pero dapat yung two angles mga boss have a reference angle of either 30 degrees, 45 degrees, 60 degrees, or quadrantal angles or multiple of 90 degree angle. Okay? So in this particular problem for cosine 165 degrees, we can express this into cosine 120 degrees plus 45 degrees. Because 120 plus 45, that gives us 165 degrees. And 120 degrees has a reference angle of 60 degrees. And 45 degree angle has a reference angle of 45 degree angle. Okay? Pag na-master nyo na po kung paano kunin yung reference angle of a given angle in a standard position, madali nyo na lang po yung malaman or ma-determine yung reference angle. Okay? Pero meron din akong video na ginawa in order to determine the reference angle in a simpler way or sa pinakamadaling paraan. Ilalagay ko na lang po yung link sa description sa baba para mas madali nyong mahanap yung video. Okay? So, now, this is the cosine of the sum of two angles. So, since this is the cosine of the sum of two angles, we're going to use this formula. Okay? So, we have here cosine cosine alpha times cosine beta is minus sine alpha times sine beta, where the alpha is 120 degrees and beta is 45 degrees. So by substitution, we have here cosine alpha, that is cosine 120 degrees, cosine beta, that is cosine 45 degrees, okay, minus sine alpha, that is sine 120, and times sine beta, that is sine 45 degrees. Okay? So, sabi ko na kanina, yung reference angle ng 120 degree is 60 degree. At saka yung 45 degree, yung reference angle niya is also 45 degree, because an angle greater than 0 but less than 90 degree, yung reference angle niyan is the angle itself. Okay. So, next, determine natin kung saan na-locate yung terminal side ng 120 degrees at 45 degrees para ma-determine natin kung anong sign yung gagamitin natin sa mga coordinates, positive ba or negative. So, for 120 degrees angle, saan makikita yung terminal side? Okay, tama. Nasa second quadrant. So, pag sa second quadrant, mga boss, ano yung sign ng x-coordinate? Correct. We have negative. So, ang gagamitin natin dito, mga boss, is negative 1/2. How about yung y-coordinate? Tama, mga boss. Positive kasi nasa second quadrant yung terminal side. So, yung x-coordinate is negative. So, we have negative 1/2. Yung y-coordinate is positive, so positive square root of 3 over 2. How about 45 degree angle? Saan makikita yung terminal side or saang quadrant makikita yung terminal side ng 45 degree angle? Correct, nasa first quadrant. So kapag nasa first quadrant, ano yung sign ng x-coordinate? Correct, positive. How about y-coordinate? Okay, also positive. So we're going to use positive square root of 2 over 2, positive square root of 2 over 2. So, tandaan lang natin yung cosine theta is equal to x and yung sine theta correspond to y coordinate. So, next, yung cosine 120, so cosine is x. So, ito yung gagamitin natin kasi yung reference angle ng 120 is 60. So, this is x. So, ito yung gagamitin yung x coordinate. So, sabi natin kanina, this is negative 1/2. So, this is now negative 1/2. Cosine 45, cosine is x. Okay, x-coordinate yung gagamitin natin. That is square root of 2 over 2. Okay, ito yon. Minus sine 120 degrees. So, sine is, or sine theta correspond to y-coordinate. Ito yung y-coordinate ng reference angle ng 120 degree na 60. So, ito, so you have square root of 3 over 2. So, for sine 45 degree, we have, okay, sine is y. So, ito, square root of 2 over 2. By simplifying, we have, so multiply 1 times square root of 2, that is square root of 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Negative times positive, that is negative. Square root of 3 times square root of 2, that is square root of 6. 2 times 2, that is 4. So, we have minus or negative square root of 6 over 4. Since yung dalawang fraction merong parehong denominator, pwede natin yung i-simplify, mga boss. So, that is now equal to cosine 165 degrees equal to negative square root of 2 minus square root of 6 all over 4. Or we can simply factor out negative 1, that gives us negative of square root of 2 plus square root of 6 all over 4. Okay, number 2. So, we have here cosine of 15 degrees. Again, we're going to express 15 degree as a sum or a difference of two angles. And take note, dapat yung dalawang angle merong reference angle na either 30 degrees, 45 degrees, 60 degrees, or quadrantal angles. So this cosine 15 degrees can be expressed as cosine 45 degree minus 30 degree. Because 45 degree minus 30 degree, that is 15 degrees. Okay? So, what is this? This is the cosine of the difference of two angles. So, we are going to use this formula. Okay, by substitution, we have here, so cosine alpha, our alpha is 45, times cosine beta, or beta is 30 degrees, so this is now cosine 30 degrees, plus sine alpha, that is sine 45 degrees, times sine beta, that is sine 30 degrees. Okay? So, what are the reference angle of 45-degree angle and 30-degree angle? For 45, so 45 din, yung reference angle ng 30 degree is 30 degree din. Okay? Ito yung possible na coordinates ng point of intersection ng terminal side at saka ng unit circle. Now, let's determine kung saang quadrant nakala yung terminal side ng 45 degrees. Okay? So, tama, nasa first quadrant. So, alam naman natin, pag nasa first quadrant, lahat ay positive. Yung x-coordinate ay positive, at yung y-coordinate ay also positive. And also, pareho lang sa 30-degree angle. Lahat ay positive. So, remember lang natin, cosine theta is equal to x and sine theta equals y. So, by simplifying, cosine 45, cosine is x, eto yon. So, square root of 2 over 2 kasi lahat naman ay positive. Cosine 30, eto is the x-coordinate. We have here square root of 3 over 2 plus sine 45, sine is y. So, eto. So, square root of 2 over 2 and sine 30, eto, that is 1/2. Okay? By simplifying, we have square root of 2 times 3, that is square root of 6. 2 times 2, that is 4. Plus square root of 2 times 1, that is square root of 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Again, we have the same denominator. We can combine that or simplify that into square root of 6 plus square root of 2 all over 4. The next problem, sine of 255 degrees. Okay? Again, we're going to simplify that as a sine of the sum of two angles. Okay? So, we can express 255 degrees as 225 degrees plus 30 degrees. So, bakit ito yung ginamit ko? Kasi yung 225 degrees has a reference angle of, yes, correct, 45 degrees. And 30 degrees has a reference angle of 30 degrees. So, yun lang yung gagamitin natin. Okay? Para magamit natin yung unit circle. So, next, this is the sine of the sum of two angles. Okay? So, again, our alpha is 225 degrees. Our beta is 30 degrees. So, we will use this formula. By simplifying, we have now sine 225 degrees, cosine 30 degrees, plus cosine 225 degrees times sine 30 degrees. So, sabi ko na kanina, yung 225 degrees sa reference angle of 45, yung 30 degrees sa reference angle of 30 degrees. So, ito yung possible na mga coordinates ng point of intersection ng terminal side at saka ng unit circle. Now, locate natin yung terminal side kung saang quadrant para malaman natin kung anong gagamitin nating sign sa mga coordinates, if positive ba or negative. So, for 225 degrees, so saan na-locate yung terminal side ng 225 degrees? Okay, tama. Nasa third quadrant. Pag nasa third quadrant, yung terminal side, ano yung sign ng x-coordinate? Correct, negative. How about y-coordinate? Correct, negative. So, ibig sabihin, yung gagamitin natin dito is negative square root of 2. Dito, negative square root of 2 din. Okay? Negative square root of 2 over 2. Ito, negative square root of 2 over 2. Now, for cosine 30 degrees, nasa first quadrant. 30 degrees nasa first quadrant. So, lahat, yung positive yung x-coordinate, positive din yung y-coordinate yung gagamitin natin dito. Okay? By simplifying, we have, so sine corresponds to y. So, negative square root of 2 over 2 yung gagamitin natin. Cosine 30, eto, kasi x yung cosine. So, square root of 3 over 2. Next, plus cosine 225, eto, so negative, again, square root of 2 over 2. And sine 30, that is, eto, positive 1/2. Okay. Simplifying, we have square root of 2 times square root of 3, that is square root of 6. 2 times 2 is 4. Negative times positive, that is negative. So, you have negative square root of 6 over 4. You have here negative square root of 2 times 1, that is negative square root of 2. 2 times 2, that is 4. By simplifying, that is equal to negative square root of 6 minus square root of 2 all over 4. Or we can simply factor 1, that is negative of square root of 6 plus 2 all over 4. Number 4, we have sine 15 degrees. Okay? So we have here, we can express this into sine of the difference of two angles. So 15 degrees is also equal to 45 degree minus 30 degree. Okay? So we'll use this formula. So we have here sine 45 degree times cosine 30 minus cosine 45 degrees times sine 30 degrees. So the reference angle of 45 degree is still 45 degrees, and also the 30 degree angle has a reference angle of 30 degrees. So this is the possible, or these are the possible coordinates. Since 45 degree angle and 30 degree angle, all are, the terminal sides are in the first quadrant, so lahat ng coordinates are all positive. Okay? So we have here sine 45, that corresponds to y, so square root of 2 over 2. Cosine 30, that corresponds to the x-coordinate, square root of 3 over 2, eto yon, minus cosine 45, that corresponds to the x-coordinate of 45 degree reference angle, that is square root of 2 over 2, and sine 30, that is y-coordinate 1/2. Okay, by simplifying, we have square root of 2 times 10, that is square root of 6, 2 times 2 is 4, square root of 2 times 1 is square root of 2, 2 times 2 is 4, so minus square root of 2 over 4. By simplifying, we have square root of 6 minus square root of 2 all over 4. For letter B, we're going to express the given trigonometric functions as a trigonometric function of a single angle. Yung gagawin natin dito mga boss is parang baliktad nung ginawa natin kanina. So, pabalik tayo. So, we have here cosine 30 degrees, cosine 45 degrees, minus sine 30 degrees times sine 45 degrees. So, determine nyo lang kung anong, yung expression na to is sa anong formula. Okay? So, this is in the formula of, or in the cosine of the sum of two angles. Diba yung cosine of the sum of two angles is cosine alpha times cosine beta minus sine alpha times sine beta. If alpha is 30 and beta is 45 degrees, so eto is nasa form na ganito. So in other words, eto is i-express natin into cosine of two, or cosine of the sum of two angles, where our alpha is 30 degrees and beta is 45 degrees. So this is now equal to cosine 30 degrees plus 45 degrees. Now, by adding 30 degrees and 45 degrees, we have cosine 75 degrees. Therefore, this expression is equal to cosine 75 degrees. So number 2, so we have here sine 30 degrees, cosine 45 degrees, plus 30 degrees times sine 45 degrees. Okay? Again, that is the sine of the sum of two angles, because the sine of the sum of two angles has a formula of this. So this expression is halintulad nito. Tama? So sine alpha cosine beta plus cosine alpha sine beta. So in other words, etong expression na to is pwede nating express into a sine of the sum of two angles. So where alpha is 30 degrees and beta is 45 degrees. So we have here sine 30 degrees plus 45 degrees. Adding 30 degrees and 45 degrees, we have sine 75 degrees. In other words, this expression is equivalent to sine 75 degrees. Okay? Mga boss, ang math ay nagiging madali kung pinag-aaralang maigi. Salamat sa panonood and God bless.